Elon's SpaceX might lose its Texas base. SpaceX is moving to Florida. Let's find out. If you've been following SpaceX, you know that it's facing huge problems as the launch of SpaceX's Starship is nearing. And as much as we all want to see the spaceship fly, the company is constantly facing issues regarding its launch now after a lot of hurdles. SpaceX cleared one of the hurdles in its quest to launch its Starship, which is expected to be the world's most powerful rocket. This all happened when the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, granted environmental approval for orbital launches from the company's site in South Texas. This decision was announced on June 13th after a whole last month had many obligations and required many actions to be taken by SpaceX in order to launch the rocket safely, as the biggest issue was that the launch of the rocket will affect the nearby environment. But the ruling still represents a win for Elon Musk's space company, which could have been required to complete a much more comprehensive and lengthy environmental impact statement before any orbital launches took place. However, after all this conditional approval, SpaceX, which still needs a launch license for orbital flights, this puts the future of the launch complex in Boca. The facility has always seen criticism from all sorts of people. These people include state and regional officials who see the site as an opportunity for economic development, environmentalists concerned about the impacts on fragile ecosystems, locals whose communities have been transformed, and SpaceX devotees with grand visions of living on Mars, which also include me, although I've never criticized it personally. After all these issues and debates and criticism, sadly it feels that SpaceX will have no future in Boca. Musk has said that SpaceX plans to ultimately move Starship operations to NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, where the company is building a brand new launch tower and an amazing facility with all the new bells and whistles. And to top it all off, it already has all the permits for orbital launches. So, thankfully, the company seems to have a bright future in its Mars colonizing mission. However, the South Texas site won't be abandoned totally and will likely be maintained as a hub for research and development. But as Starship becomes operational, there will be less need for a vibrant test program at Boca Chica Beach. Because, however, I'm going to miss Starbase, man. It was just so cool to refer to, not going to lie. SpaceX may have won the battle to launch Starship test flights from Starbase, but during the fight, Texas may have lost its claim on future historic flights to Mars. I mean, imagine literally denying to have the biggest milestone to your name. Sad. Speaking of the problems Starbase was facing, in order to conduct orbital Starship flights from Texas, which would also involve launching a bigger rocket than the Saturn V that took astronauts to the moon, the company would actually have to comply with 75 new provisions. Like, what, man? Why are there so many legal issues everywhere? Now, these legal issues include limits on road closures and the creation of wildlife corridors, as well as other less conventional requirements, such as preparing a historical context report of the Mexican War? Before SpaceX obtains the final FAA license to launch its mega rocket, like, what even, man? The document only covers 10 launches per year, 5 suborbital and 5 orbital, a limit that the company could easily run into once Starship starts flying. To top it all off, another big issue is the pressure created by legal actions of environmental groups. With one suit filed at least and one more threatened, Jim Chapman, a board member of the local environmental group Save RGV, Rio Grande Valley, said this regarding the situation. It's deja vu all over again. His company is currently suing the state of Texas over the spaceport at Boca Chica. Chapman says that the SpaceX wasn't ultimately required to adhere to mitigation measures when it began flight tests of the smaller upper stages of Starship, and he is skeptical of the FAA will fully enforce the requirements for launching much larger super heavy boosters. I don't see how anything's changed, he says. For others, the limits placed on SpaceX and comments from Musk that suggest the company would ultimately move launch operations to Florida represent a lost opportunity to lead humanity's voyages into the solar system. If you ask me, I'm also included in these people. When interviews were done regarding the situation in Brownsville, Louis Baldera, a local resident and the person who operates the site, and Lab Padre said, everyone down here, Brownsville and the whole valley, was expecting to see that this was going to be the gateway to Mars. As far as anything being launched directly to space, to the moon, or Mars, it's more likely not going to happen here. I think that's going to bum some people out. Yes, he is the guy who keeps cameras on the SpaceX facility and streams it all the time. So anyway, that's it for now. Let us know your thoughts on this topic in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're at it. See you guys next time. Bye!